When it comes to the essentials of survival, you only need a few things: cutting, combustion, some sort of container, and a good skill set. So I put together some minimalist items that would meet those requirements and keep things minimal. The first item is a knife. A knife is an essential in any backpacker's or camper's pack. The specific knife I have here is the Bushcraft Black, and it has lasted me a couple of years. A knife does a numerous amount of things, like sharpening a stick for a pole, skewer, or spear. Believe it or not, you don't need an axe to split wood. Yes, you can use your knife to split smaller branches or pieces of wood too. A knife contributes to fire making too, as you might need it to process wood shavings or fat wood scrapings. You would need it if you need to cut a rope or a bandage too. Most knives have a 90-degree spine to them, which helps strike a ferro rod. Next up is some sort of fire kit. I have this little tin with some char cloth and juniper fiber to take the ember. Typically you'd start the char cloth with a flint and steel, but I just use a ferro rod. Char cloth will take a spark absurdly fast and easy, so be careful with it. Once I get the char cloth up, I put it in the tinder bundle and blow on it to give it oxygen. Eventually it would start smoking a lot, and then it will burst into a big flame. This, surprisingly, lasts for a while, but make sure to have the twigs to get the fire going. The case it's in is actually used to make char cloth as well. You just throw some cloth in there and put it on a fire, and you should have some char cloth. Now cordage. What I have here is some normal rope that you can use for anything, but some 550 paracord works well too. A common knot that is very useful is a taut line hitch. Just make a loop and wrap it around the main line twice, then, above the wraps, make a loop and put the tag end in the loop. Then just pull on the main line and there you have it. This knot is extremely versatile. And one cool thing about this is that it's a self-tightening knot, meaning the bigger the loop, the tighter the line. Once you make the loop smaller, the line will have more slack. In my last video I made a shelter, and as you can see, cordage was vital to that. Next up, container. Having some sort of metal container is crucial if you want water. It serves as a water transportation device and a pot to boil water in, which is also crucial to purifying water or making hot food or drinks. I also like to carry a utensil because it's light and highly convenient. So if you need to purify water, you're gonna want a metal container for it. Next is a good old-fashioned hatchet or axe. I recommend a smaller hatchet if you're going minimalist, but this is what I have. It's actually homemade with a cheap axe head and a stiletto handle. Anywho, you're gonna want an axe or at least a machete for doing big chopping tasks. You see, this would be a pain in the ass to take all of these twigs and break the branch with just a knife. Also, a knife can't baton all sizes of wood. You may need something bigger. The hatchet definitely makes chopping this much easier. And by the way, the branch looks living, but I can assure you it's laying on the ground. Next up is something pretty simple, basic first aid. Here I have a roll of bandages, but having the knowledge of first aid is most important. Remember, knowledge weighs nothing, so you should have as much as possible when out camping. But that's about it for this item. Finally, a nice pair of leather gloves. Why leather, you ask? Well, it's the most fireproof material you can get. These ones I got are actually meant for fire. But on top of that, working in the cold can have your hands numb and can be at risk of frostbite. These gloves serve as a simple layer from your skin to the cold wood and will overall keep your hands nice and warm. In my last video, I made a shelter with bark like this, and the bark was pretty cold and I had no gloves, so handling this bark with gloves was a remarkable difference. Concluding this, we have a nice pair of leather gloves, which as it happens are DeWalt gloves, a quality knife, a fire kit, a metal container, a hatchet or machete, first aid, and any sort of cordage. Anyway, that's it. Peace.